जाऊंगा। जिस तरह से तबले के बोल हैं त्रिकड़ दिन 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 धागे त्रिकड़ दिन कत्ता धागे त्रिकड़ दिन दिन, ऐसी हमारे सरोद के बोल हैं दिल डाला डाला दा द्रदा दिल डाला डा दिल डा। तो ये बंदिश हंस ध्वनि की एक ताले में दिल 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 डाला 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 दिल 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 डाला 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 दिल 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 डाला 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 दिल 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 दा दिल दिल दा दिल दिल दा दिल 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 दा। राग तिलक का मोद बहुत ही खूबसूरत राग है, और इसके बाद और जो इसके आसपास खूबसूरत चीज़ें हैं, उनसे मैं गुजरता हुआ जाऊंगा।
Thank you all for joining us tonight for Giator's performance. On behalf of Sikh Heritage Month Foundation, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors, the City of Brampton, the Regional Appeal, and our partners here at PAMA for allowing us to host this event and many others like it throughout this month. I just want to quickly bring your attention to a series of events that the Sikh National Archives of Canada are doing in collaboration with the Brampton Library. So obviously, there's exhibitions that are open now that have been extended till April 30th, 2023 at the Brampton Library Springdale branch and the Gore Meadows Community Center. The timings for these exhibitions are from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Thursday, and from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. from Friday to Saturday. So in addition to these exhibitions, there are going to be two special events held on April 23rd, 2023 at the Brampton Library at the Springdale branch. The first event is the Art Hive, which is a free drop-in community art studio that will run from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The second event is an illustration workshop with Geert Gore. So if you have friends that weren't able to make it here today, make sure they go out and visit Geert there. That's going to run from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. and that does require registration. And then the last event is going to be on Saturday, April 29th. With Sikh National Archives, will be hosting an event webinar titled Exploring the Basics of Guru Granth Sahib Ji from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. To register for any of these events, please visit sikhnationalarchives.com. Also on behalf of the team here, I'd just like to thank Gagan and Monica for helping set up this amazing evening. And I'll pass the stage on to Karen Rai.
Hi everyone, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Kiran Rai. I am an actor, filmmaker, and I am a creative director. I am really happy to be here with all of you today, and I'm excited. I would like to start by acknowledging the land on which we gather, which is the region of Peel operates, is the treaty lands and territory of Mississaugas of the Credit. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples inhabited and cared for this land and continue to do so today. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabe, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, Ojibwe, Chippewa peoples, and the land that is now home to the Métis. Most recently, the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We are grateful to have this opportunity to work and live on this land. I would like to welcome all of you to the 10th anniversary of the Sikh Heritage Month. I had the privilege of being one of the first few, amongst a lot of other community members, who were there years back to gather and petition to make something like this happen. It's really amazing to be able to celebrate our culture and our identity together, and being able to do so for so many years and continue to hopefully do so for our future generations. I just realized when we were talking backstage, Girit and I actually met here for the first time 10 years ago, which is so ironic because it just feels so full circle today. We were organizing an art exhibition, and Girit was one of the first artists I was working with and liaisoning, and it's just amazing to see how far she's come as an artist, and both of us, you know, on our journeys, that's gone so up and down, but being here today feels very full circle, and I'm glad for all of you to be here to celebrate our friendship, actually. I would like to take this moment to introduce one of the greatest artists of our generation, I truly believe, a Renaissance woman. Everyone put your hands together for Girit Gore. Doesn't she look so beautiful? Hi. So far.
Hello. Hello everyone. Saਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਹੋ ਅੱਜ. Actually, honestly, it looks like more of a family gathering rather than like an event. It's like such an intimate get together. So thank you guys so much for taking time to come here today to celebrate Punjabi Bagh, and not just Punjabi Bagh, but also Punjabiyat, Sikhi, and honestly, just everything that we stand for. So thank you guys so much.
I'm gonna try to do that. There we go. Oh yes. Okay. So I'll start the Q&A. Okay. For those who are new to your work, how would you describe your artistic expression, and through what mediums as well?
Good question. Actually, I just realized we actually have a bit of a visual behind us as well. So if you want, you can go through that.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay.
So.
Oh, there.
Yeah. So I would describe my work as something that pulls from history and gives it a space in the contemporary world. And I see different mediums as tools rather than actual forms of practice. So I do a lot of work in traditional painting, in sculpture, in music, in writing, and architecture as well, professionally. And I feel like those are all just different avenues to express similar concepts. And that's what I hope to do, in the future as well over my career. Like, I'm hoping that I can just continue to evolve and try those new things. And yeah, like, I don't ever want to just be stagnant in one field and just to be identified as a traditional painter or as a sculptor or as an architect. I feel like it's what helps me grow to continue learning and experimenting. And also, I was going to say, like, with you as well, I feel like our conversations and everything that we've done has really informed my practice as well. So a thank you for that as well.
Okay, what? It's not necessary.
It's necessary.
But honestly, I think that's what makes me in awe of you, is just the fact that you're able to see a certain type of medium and just take it on, and you're all of a sudden a master at it. I don't know anyone else that can do it like you. And you literally are the epitome of someone that does, like, puts their mind to something and makes it happen. You've been perfecting your craft for years, but today you've successfully taken on a new medium. It's also the reason why we're here to celebrate today. Can you tell us more about Punjabi Garden and what inspired this work for you to share with everyone?
For sure. I feel like I have so many things to say about Punjabi Garden. Well, so as you all know, Punjabi Bagh was actually, the exhibition was inspired by the book that I illustrated, wrote, and designed. And the whole goal of the book was to create a tool for, I had our generation in mind, but for anyone to be able to pick it up and learn Gurmukhi and Punjabi. So no matter what your background is with the language, as long as you know English, you can follow along the book and you can learn the script, the Gurmukhi script, and you can pick up on the basics of Punjabi nouns. And the whole theme surrounding the book is obviously nature. And I was talking about this with someone earlier as well. But I feel like, especially growing up in Punjabi culture and growing up in Sikhi, a lot of the metaphors that we're surrounded by are always nature themed. It's very heavily seeped in nature, and like so much beauty is pulled from just one symbol. And so I feel like I've just been around that and I've been immersed in it. And I think it was like a natural response to use that as a theme for the book as well. And yeah, like the exhibition that we have downstairs, hopefully you all had a chance to take a look, but if not, after our presentation and performance, definitely have a look. But we've taken imagery and writing from the book and we've presented it in an interior space to create a visual arts exhibition. So my whole goal with the book now is to transform it into different forms of art, so that it's not just a book, but so that it's expressed through visual art, through interior architecture, through exhibition, through music as well, which we will be sharing after our conversation, and through who knows what else, what other medium is next.
Well, actually, I didn't realize, because I think a lot of your work is really nature-based, and you take elements of nature and then also add like a surrealist type of element to it as well, which is what makes your work so unique. But I didn't realize that that's why you actually put it into into the book as the theme. But yeah, I think if you go through the book, and I don't know if everyone's already gotten a chance to do that, but you can see how much work, how much research, how much time, how much energy you put into it. I know as a fan of your work, how intricate each detail is and how much knowledge and wisdom comes with each visual piece that you put in. What was your process like to create this book, and why did you decide to do it this way?
The book was definitely a slow burn. It was a project that I spent almost a year working on. Obviously, I was balancing other projects and other work at the same time, so it was at times tough to devote the time that I needed to devote to it, but I feel like because it was just something that so naturally poured out of me, I was able to devote that time and put that effort into it. Because oftentimes, if you're working on something and it requires a lot of work and you're not that into it, it's really difficult to just sustain that workflow. But I feel like because I was so in love with the project and the idea. This book is really a combination of all the things that I love, writing, illustration, poetry, design. It was just, every part of it was such an enjoyable thing. And I feel like that was probably the most sacred part of creating the book, when no one knew about it and when I was just quietly working on it. And only a few people had a chance to look at it. Those were my favorite times with the book, just me and the book, which sounds really kind of airy-fairy, but I do feel like that was my favorite time, just being able to peacefully create it.
Yeah, because I don't think I even knew you were making the book for a long time either.
Yeah.
It was just so...
I was very quiet about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I think when you did start sharing bits and pieces of it, I realized how much time and energy must have gone to each piece. I don't even...
Yeah.
I can't fathom her work. Sometimes yeah.
I feel like when I think back at it, it adds up, but while I was doing it, it was just a process. It was just, okay, this thing is done, gotta do the next thing. I think that's how the book came to be. It wasn't I sat there and came up with the skeleton all in one day or all in one shot. It was very much, so if you've looked at the book, there's a short story aspect to it, and we'll show you guys in a bit on one of the slides, but the next one actually. Yeah, so that's too small for me to read, but I'm actually gonna just pull up the book and I will show you guys an example. But so what I did was, with each Gurmukhi letter that is in the alphabet, there is a nature-based noun that is paired with it. And with that noun, there's a little short story as well. But the interesting thing is that each short story is connected to the next noun. So that way, all 41 letters are connected through their nouns and through the stories. So I'll read the little bit for, what do we have? Hing. So again, if you guys are familiar with Gurmukhi, the nganga is a bit of a pariah letter. It's one of the ones that's weird and difficult to pronounce, and it's kind of in a way, it's been kind of outdated, but there are a lot of words that actually did traditionally use this. So nganga, there's no word that starts with it, but hing, which is a spice, ends with nganga. So for example, I'll read the little story about it in Punjabi and then in English. So, hing masala do tar੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇੱਕ ਦਾ ਰੰਗ ਲਾਲ, ਮੰਗਲ ਗ੍ਰਹਿ ਵਰਗਾ, ਅਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਦਾ ਰੰਗ ਚਿੱਟਾ, ਚੰਦ ਵਰਗਾ. So in English, there are two types of a saffetida spice, a red version, like the color of the planet Mars, and a white version, like the color of the moon. So this references Chand, moon, which is the next letter, and the next noun. So then we have, Chand ਧਰਤੀ ਤੋਂ ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਮੀਲ ਦੂਰ ਹੈ। ਇਨਸਾਨ ਇਸ ਉੱਤੇ ਘਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਨ, ਜਦਕਿ ਮਧੂਮੱਖੀਆਂ ਛੱਤ ਤੇ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਲੈਂਦੀਆਂ ਹਨ. The moon is thousands of miles away from the earth. Humans dream of building homes on it, while bees dream of building hives. And so similarly, that references hives, chatta, and then the next letter, so on and so forth. So
I don't know. The reason why I'm just in awe, because you not only taken your writing skills to another level, you're doing short stories, as well as you're translating it now into Punjabi, and then you're also trying to teach us Gurmukhi and Punjabi as you go along. And then you're also, it's just too much. It's great. It's amazing. In like all the best ways. Like that's how much work she put in. Like no one does it like that. I don't know. But like I said, I was going to say, teaching language is no easy task, and it takes a lot of precision and time and commitment to learning the history and origins of words, phrases, dialects, and writing. How was your process putting together Gurmukhi and Punjabi script in this way, and what did you learn about yourself throughout this journey?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think I learned that I'm actually a lot more connected to Gurmukhi and Punjabi than I consciously realized. And I realized that even just speaking the language, how natural it feels to me versus English and other languages. So that was definitely one thing that really hit me. And actually, after working on the book, I felt more inspired to speak in Punjabi, to not use English crutches, like we always use English words here and there, like main door kholna as opposed to main darwaja kholna, things like that. So I was just personally inspired to embrace it more holistically. And it was also a little bit tricky because a lot of the Punjabi that we speak, everyone speaks a different dialect. So my family's from Malwa, you're from Doaba, everyone has a different way of speaking Punjabi. But the Punjabi that I stuck to in the book is the standardized Punjabi University version of Punjabi, which is a very contemporary version. Obviously Punjabi has evolved so much over the years. The Punjabi of Baba Farid is almost unrecognizable to so many people, right? It's definitely evolved. But this book is definitely 2022 Punjabi, and it's very much a diasporic perspective. One of the interesting critiques that I got actually for the book was people noticed that there was a lot of imagery that was non-Punjabi, non-traditional. But I feel like for me, someone who grew up in the West primarily, and we've been exposed to so many different cultures, that's inevitably gonna be a part of our Punjabiyat, right? It's not gonna be geographical Punjabi, purity in that sense. So this is very much true to, just a Canadian Punjabi girl who grew up here. And my hope is that everyone can take something out of it, no matter what your age is, what your level of understanding is. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like even, okay, I've said this to her multiple times, but I see this as the official translation book for Punjabi. It should be in textbooks everywhere, in schools, libraries, everywhere. Yes, we should be teaching this for generations to come. But what is unique about it is that unlike your typical translation books, and you spoke about this a little bit already, but you also included poetry and storytelling, accompanied by hundreds of new original visual pieces. Why did you choose to include this, and what are you hoping to achieve with this book, besides it being an incredible ode to Punjabi language?
I want people like you and me, and anyone in general who identifies with Punjabiyat, to feel like it's cool to speak Punjabi, to feel like it's cool to be Punjabi, because I do find that there's a little bit of, I guess there's when a lot of times people speak Punjabi, they feel almost embarrassed by it, and especially when you go to Punjab, shockingly enough, there's Punjabi is kind of seen as less than, and I want the status to come back up again, because there is so much beauty in it, there's so much creativity in it. When you think in Punjabi, the thoughts that come to your mind are totally different, totally creative, totally beautiful. And I just want people to embrace that again. And so I'm hoping that, with this book and other projects that stem from it, people can feel closer to it again. Yeah, that's the goal.
And also the fact that you've incorporated poetry, which is, obviously Punjabi is a poetic language, but I think along the way people have forgotten. And
exactly. Yeah, it is such a floral language. It's such a beautiful language, and I will be sharing some poetry from the book in a little bit as well. But that was also a very interesting experience to write poetry in Punjabi and include it in the book. So I'm hoping to do that more.
Well, I mean, your experience in being Punjabi, you just went to Punjab recently too.
Yeah, I
And you
just
had
did.
an entirely new experience this time as well. But you've shared that you moved to India when you were younger, and specifically in Patiala. I know that it was important to you, to your parents as well, that you were experiencing and exposed to Punjab and learning Punjabi. Can you share how this time influenced you and how it kind of affects your artistic practices today?
Yeah, I think it's had a long-lasting impact on my work, for sure. So I moved to Patiala when I was in grade 3. So I did grades 3, 4, and a little bit of 5 in Patiala. And that was like a product of my parents. My mom's here. Hello, Mom.
Hey.
It was a product of my parents wanting my brother and I to be exposed to the language and the culture. And I feel like learning a language is an immersive experience. Like, you really have to be around people who are speaking it. You have to be around the script and just seeing it all the time. So I think being there definitely helped with like a lot of the technical stuff. Like, I feel like in those early years, I learned how to read and write it in a scholastic setting. So that was really helpful. And also, I think in terms of my work, I think just the visual language of Punjab, that style of painting, the architecture, the music, all of that, I think that's forever impacted my work. And also just, you know, going on trips to Punjab, like frequently, even after that, it's just such a beautiful way of representing visual culture, and I think it's gonna hopefully forever stay in my language too.
I think so, because even, okay, like if you know Kirith, you know that when she does take on a medium, she goes all the way. She studies it. She goes to the best of the best to learn everything from that person. So, for example, you've gotten your master's in architecture. You've gotten training from high-level ustads in music. You've honed your craft in miniature painting and in surrealism, to learning the inner workings of marble inlay and ceramics. Like, there's no stopping you. How have your other artistic practices influenced Punjabi garden specifically?
Yeah, I think all of my like different practices and different mediums have like seeped into one another for sure. Like, one influences the other. Like, I remember when I first started like really training with my Indian classical music teacher, that allowed me to think visually in ways that I hadn't before. And then, you know, training in music and learning things about music that I didn't know existed, like, helped really refine my visual craft. And then studying architecture, I think that introduced like a more refined technical layer into my work. So I feel like no matter what I do, and I would suggest this to everyone in the audience as well, and like I'm sure you guys know this, but I feel like no matter what it is that you're doing, it's gonna like improve you or better you in some way, even if it's not like directly what you're aiming to do. Like, nothing is a waste, basically. Like, everything contributes to everything. Yeah, and I found that very helpful in my work.
Yeah, I feel like everything was in preparation for you to create something like this, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's like a culmination. I feel like the book is like a culmination of all the things that I'm interested in. Yeah.
So speaking about the book, what was your favorite piece that, I know that's hard to say because you did so much in this book, but what is your favorite piece that you would like to speak a little bit more on?
Yeah, so it's in the slideshow. It's the next one, I think. Or
Okay, that's her ceramics right
this
there.
isn't in the book, but
This is a presentation now.
I think we lost track of the visuals.
I was listening to you too hard.
It's fine. But this poem is probably my favorite one that I wrote. And I'm going to actually read it during the poetry performance. But this poem and illustration is basically a dedication to the diaspora and, you know, our parents' generation who preserved the language and passed it on to us. But I'll share it in a little while.
Well, this is the end of our conversation, so I just wanted to ask you at the end of this, how can we follow more of your work and amplify your work?
Yeah, so downstairs, if you guys are interested in the book is available for purchase downstairs, and it'll always be available online for worldwide shipping. So you can always check that out, and I think we have a link here as well. The next slide might be our, so we have a little QR code as well, but it is available downstairs. My website has most of my work, and Instagram's probably the best place to kind of see what I'm up to.
Yeah, you better follow her Instagram. If you're not, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Anyways, I'm gonna let you go now and do some poetry and some pieces from your book. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for being such a good host.
I was nervous in the beginning, but I'm fine now.
Right, so the poems that I'm going to be sharing today, I wrote them for the book as a love letter to Punjabi, and I will read the Punjabi version, and then I'll read the English version as well, and we'll have some visuals in the back for you as well that were the illustrations paired with the writing. So I hope you guys enjoy. Punjabi Parya Dil, heart full of Punjabi. ਕਾਸ਼ ਮੇਰੇ ਦੋ ਦਿਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਇੱਕ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੁੱਖ ਹਨੇਰਾ ਸਵੈ ਭਰਮ, ਦੂਸਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿਰਫ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ. I wish I had two hearts, one to carry sorrow, darkness, self-doubt, the other to carry only Punjabi. Amar Jad, immortal root. ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜ਼ੁਬਾਨ ਤੋਂ ਕਦੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਫੁੱਲ ਕਿਰ ਜਾਣ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੁੱਕ ਕੇ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਲਗਾ ਕੇ ਰੂਹ ਦੀ ਮਿੱਟੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਲਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ, ਧੁੱਪ ਅਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਦੇਵੋ. If the flowers of Punjabi ever fall from your tongue, pick them up, plant them again, nurture them in your finest soil, feed them water, sunlight, and love. ਪਿਘਲ, thaw. ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਦੀ ਹਾਂ, ਹੀਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਕਣਾਂ ਭਰੀ ਭਾਫ ਮੇਰੇ ਮੂੰਹੋਂ ਨਿਕਲਦੀ ਹੈ. ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਦੀ ਸਰਦੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਿੱਘ ਭਰਦੀ ਹੈ. When I speak Punjabi, clouds of diamond dust leave my mouth. Punjabi breathes warmth into the winter that surrounds me. Chand ਭਰੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ, language full of moon. ਚੰਦ ਚਾਨਣੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਰੇਸ਼ਮੀ ਕਿਰਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਦੇ ਨਕਸ਼ੇ ਬੁਣਦੀ ਹਾਂ. I use silver threads of moon silk to weave tapestries shaped like the maps of my mother tongue. And this last one is my favorite one. It's called Punjabi Bagh, Punjabi Garden. ਪ੍ਰਵਾਸੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਸ਼ੇਸ਼ ਪਿਆਰ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਪੀ ਕੇ, ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ੀ ਹਵਾ ਦੇ ਸਾਹ ਲੈ ਕੇ, ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ੀ ਫਲ ਖਾ ਕੇ ਅਤੇ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਬੋਲ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬਾਗ ਨੂੰ ਖਿੜਿਆ ਰੱਖਿਆ. Special love to the diaspora, who moved to foreign land and drank foreign water and breathed foreign air and ate foreign fruit and spoke a foreign tongue and still managed to grow the Punjabi garden. Thank you. Dhanwad. So, as part of translating Punjabi garden into different mediums and different forms of art, I'm going to be sharing the themes of nature and writing through music. And so I'll be sharing some Punjabi folk songs and also a song that I wrote in English, which is very much about the themes of nature and, like that fiery symbol of nature. So if we could have instrumental one. Oh, sorry. 2, instrumental 2. Actually, I'm going to take a sip of water real quick. Also, you guys might recognize some of these folk songs as well. So like feel free to sing along and clap if you'd like.
आके तक जा साडा हाल वे हाय आके तक जा साडा हाल वे हाय डाची वालिया मोड़ मुहार वे तेरी डाची दे चुमनिया पैर सिर दी मंगनिया खैर वे साडी जिंदड़ी नू इंजना गाल वे हाय साडी जिंदड़ी नू इंजना गाल वे हाय डाची वालिया मोड़ मुहार वे सुखा सुखनिया तेरिया लाल वे हाय सुखा सुखनिया तेरिया लाल वे हाय डाची वालिया मोड़ मुहार वे डाची वालिया मोड़ मुहार वे सोनी वालिया ले चल नाल वे सोनी वालिया ले चल नाल वे हाय सोनी वालिया ले चल नाल वे हाय डाची वालिया मोड़ मुहार वे Thank you. Thank you. Da 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 looks like a ball of fire tonight. Oh, the blood moon looks like a ball of fire tonight. With that red rose overdose, like a crimson lava glow, ruby snowball in the sky. Oh, I gotta go, let 'em know I'm chasing after the flaming moon. Keep it in my bedroom, it could light up all of my autumn bloom. Oh, the blood moon looks like a ball of fire tonight. The blood moon looks like a ball of fire tonight. Oh, the blood moon, the blood moon. Thank you.
So we're going to finish it off with a Surinder Kaur classic. I love her. I'm sure everyone here loves her. She's been such a big influence for me, and she rendered this song as well. And this song is all about the theme of writing and a love for writing. So I hope you guys enjoy.
सजना दा कदे रखनिया कदे पढ़निया ना लिखिया तरीका ओन दिया ना लिखिया तरीका ओन दिया वे मैं पल पल को उठे चढ़निया खत आया सोने सजना दा रूपना कचिया रेंदानी अंग अंग चोंडुल टुल पैंदानी रूपना कचिया रेंदानी अंग अंग चोंडुल टुल पैंदानी ए दिल एक ठाना पैंदानी इनू मुड़ मुड़ भज भज पढ़निया खत आया सोने सजना दा कदे रखनिया कदे पढ़निया खत आया सोने सजना दा कुछ मन के परों के गानी दे बरखा सबरे जवानी दे कुछ मन के परों के रखनिया कदे पढ़निया ते आया सोने सजना दा हर गल विच गल नूं लभनिया गल दिल दी दिल विच रखनिया हर गल विच गल नूं लभनिया गल दिल दी दिल विच रखनिया ते मैं पैड़ी जाकर सकदी हां ना बुझनिया ना सड़निया खत आया सोने सजना दा कदे रखनिया कदे पढ़निया ना लिखियां तरीका ओढ़ दियां ते मैं पल पल को उठे चढ़निया खत आया सोने सजना दा Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed that. So the event's not over. I know that we're concluding in here, but we're going to be still selling books in Studio 2. There's still some snacks down there. And get in if you have any last words. Please do share.
I was just gonna ask, are we doing a Q&A?
Yes, actually, that would be amazing. We do have a mic for the audience.
Yes,
We
so
already
if
have a
people have
question.
questions,
Love it.
step right up.
So we can pass around the mic, actually.
Yeah. It's your one and only chance to talk to Kita if you're
Or
not.
actually, maybe, or maybe you guys can come up. I'm not sure what's best. Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. Hey, Raji.
I feel like I have 100 questions for you, so I've nailed it down to 2.
Thank you.
First of all, that was amazing. So thank you
you.
from everyone.
Thank you.
First question, who's your favorite poet that you may have referenced since you lived in India? And
Yeah.
second question is why Guru Angad Dev Ji?
Right. Okay. So first question. My favorite poet is definitely Kavi Santokh Singh. And so Kavi Santokh Singh wrote Suraj Prakash Granth. And I reference that a lot in my work. It is a Sikh historical text that is written in poetic prose. And it covers the history of the gurus primarily. And I think I've always been around Kaviji's poetry, but I think in recent years, because I've been introducing it into my work and I've been visualizing some of the metaphors that he's used, he has a very colorful, very vivid way of describing. And I feel like he's almost describing paintings, if I'm being honest, like the way that he writes. He basically describes like these really crazy, beautiful visuals. So that's definitely my favorite poet. And Guru Angad Dev Ji was the one who organized the Gurmukhi script kind of as we know it. So that is why that dedication was for Guru Angad Dev Ji. Yeah, thanks for the questions. Thanks, Gideon, for appreciating my answer.
That's really good. I wanted to quickly ask you, because I feel
Yeah.
like your father also has a huge influence on
For sure.
learning about your Sikh history and Sikhi in general, and also the Punjabi language. Can you
Yeah.
speak a little bit more about
For
that?
sure. So I received Santhya from my father as well, which is a traditional form of receiving knowledge, I guess. And so the poet that I mentioned, Kavi Santokh Singh, he writes in the Braj language, which is, I would say, similar to Punjabi in that a lot of the vocabulary is similar, and if you know Punjabi, you can kind of follow along. Most of Sri Guru Granth Sahib is written in Braj also, but going through Suraj Prakash, it's really because of my dad that I've been able to be exposed to that and to be able to learn that history. And it's because of all of the work that he did as well, like you know, him studying from scholars and him collecting manuscripts and doing all the work. So it's a lot of his efforts that he's passed down to me. Yeah.
Shout outs to him. He's in Punjab right now.
He is. He'll be back soon. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're gonna voice.
Oh, we should give you, or do you want to come up to the mic? Oh, sorry, that's okay. Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
You want my mic? Okay.
Or we can bring the mic to you. Can someone take the mic to him? Thanks, buddy.
Give it up for B Singh, everyone. Baljeet.
Photographer extraordinaire.
I just gave her IG name as B Singh HH on Instagram. Please follow. That is my best. Anyways.
Okay, I have 2 questions for you.
Sure.
So the first one is, like I've been following the work you post on IG for a while. How did you come across the style that you use right now? Like, what was the journey to developing that? And then the other question I can ask is, your work speaks to capturing and preserving a lot of Punjabi culture, but what comes to mind when you think of what might need to change in Punjabi
Right.
culture?
Those are such good questions, and they're like really making me think. Yeah, so with the work that I do, honestly, it's hard to say like how I got to it, but what I can say is that I just kind of like kept going, I guess. Like I kept going, I kept trying to learn the different art forms that I respect and admire. So like, for example, like with the visual language, I took some training in like Indian miniature painting because I just love that form of representation. And then I think also just seeing the things that appeal to me and like combining all of those together. I think where I'm at right now is just like an amalgamation of all of that. And I would hope that it doesn't stay the same. I'm hoping that like, you know, in the next 5 years or the next 10 years, it's recognizable, but hopefully evolved. And then the second question, yeah, so I don't know, like there's a lot of things I love about Punjabi culture, but then there's a lot of things that obviously need to change. We won't get into everything, but, well, one thing, I mean, is why I wrote the book. Like I want us to encourage each other to speak the language, because so many times I will try to speak and like, you know, other people will make fun of the way that I'm speaking or pronouncing like certain words. I mean, I get it, it's not perfect, but also if we keep doing that to each other, no one's gonna wanna speak it, and I don't blame anyone for that. So I love it when like anyone just speaks whatever kind of Punjabi they know, even if it's like the worst Punjabi, whatever. Like I don't even consider any Punjabi bad Punjabi, but like I just love it when people like just own it and just go for it. And yeah, that is what I want. I want more of that, like, you know, just own it, like whatever point you're at in Punjabi right now, that is fine, and like you're only going to keep evolving, but you're not going to move if you don't push yourself, right? So that's one thing. And then I also just feel like culture is preserved through language, so if we want to keep a lot of Punjabiness alive, I feel like we should learn the language, you know? Yeah.
I agree with you on like encouraging others, because I feel this. I can't speak Punjabi
I know, you always
publicly
tell me
at
that,
all.
but you speak so well.
No,
That's the thing.
You're just nice.
No, like
But
you have all the vocabulary. Like I've heard you say
Yeah.
words that not
Thanks.
everyone knows.
I say words, and I can read, but I just don't like doing it publicly because I was so shamed
Yeah.
from people that are my age that are like
that's not
telling me if I don't speak it right. So I think it's a huge. That's something that's definitely holding us back, and like just encouraging one another in every aspect. It doesn't
In everything,
necessarily
for
mean
sure.
about just the
Just
language, but
language.
even artistically as well. Seeing Sikh women like you know, making space for that, encouraging more of
Yeah.
it, and giving platforms when it's necessary. But I think that's definitely something we need to work on as a
Yeah,
community.
for sure.
I mean,
Thanks for the
today's a good step.
Yeah, for sure. Should we just pass around the mic?
Miss Angie, please step up to the mic.
Thanks, Bundy.
First of all, phenomenal.
vocals. I can't get over it. Like,
Thank you so much.
Goosebumps.
Round of applause.
Seriously.
Thank you.
Amazing. Everything is amazing, but especially the vocals.
Thank you.
So I've been following you since Sikh Heritage Month kind of started, so it's been 10 years.
10 years.
And I've
yeah.
kind of seen your journey. So my question is very simple.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of soft touches to your work, and there's a lot of birds. And what is the fascination with the pomegranate?
I love that you asked that. I was hoping someone would ask that.
It was initially in our
Yeah,
first
we were
draft
gonna,
of questions.
include it in our Q&A, but I love that you asked that. Thank you. Yeah, so the journey with the pomegranate and like the relationship with the pomegranate, it started off as like a very innocent, not very deep or artistic thing. It was just like my favorite fruit on trips to India because it was like, it wasn't easy to break. It wasn't easy to like access. My parents had to like break it open for me, right? And then there's like that layer of the aesthetic beauty of it. Like it does look like rubies encased in marble, right? Like it's aesthetically such a beautiful thing. And again, I feel like symbols are a way to speak beyond language. I feel like they can stand for so much and they're so layered. And so I've really just been like layering the pomegranate as one of the symbols in my work with different meaning. And so it's kind of like, it's called palimpsest in like Renaissance culture, but like it's a way of just adding different layers to history. And so I'm kind of trying to do that with the pomegranate as one of my symbols. So yeah, that's really what it is. It just began with like something that I liked to eat and then like a fascination with its beauty and then just me trying to poeticize it more and more. And then it kind of slowly became a brand or like, you know, part of the identity or yeah. And so I'm happy about that. People will like message me and they'll be like, oh, I saw a pomegranate and I thought of you. Raji, you've done that. I love it. That makes
And
me
the
so
moon
happy.
as well, also.
The moon,
You
yes.
also-
Yeah, so I just love being able to do that with symbolism. It's like a way to speak without words. Yeah. Thank you. Sure.
As Gideon said, you are like a modern day Renaissance woman. I think being able to watch your artistic journey through all the different mediums has been such a privilege to see you evolve from your Baba Farid. That's like back in the day, I think it was the first Sikh Heritage Month we saw that. Is there a medium that you haven't done yet that you've been excited to try? Because did you make your headpiece first of all?
I wish.
Okay.
She would though.
It seems like something you would make. So
Thank you.
is there a
I
medium
wish.
that you have been wanting to get into, and could you tell us about that?
For sure, and it's kind of related to the headpiece, jewelry. Like I want to be able to mold and like make jewelry because I've always been obsessed with jewelry, but like anytime that I try to make it, like my cousins know this, like anytime they would come over, we would like have our beads out and like we'd be making stuff. But I feel like I've always been limited. Like I haven't been able to realize it to the point that I want to. So jewelry is definitely a thing because I feel like anytime you transfer something, again, from like one medium to another, if it's a painting but you're wearing it as a piece of jewelry, it just means so much more, right? Like there's just so much more to it. It feels like a new thing. So yeah, that is one thing that's been on the to-do list for a while. Yeah, so I hope I can do that.
And
yeah.
she's selling some jewelry pieces today
I am.
in Studio 2.
Thanks for the plug.
Make sure.
There are some marble inlay jewelry pieces downstairs if you're interested, yes.
And you made those.
So I actually got those made from a
Okay, never mind.
manufacturer because
Yes.
I can't do the whole silver.
But
yeah.
you also
But-
made a lot of ceramics yourself and like
Yes,
you've been testing
for sure,
that.
for sure. And I love, again, I just love working with different mediums, and that is one thing that I hope for the future. Like, if nothing else, like I just want to be able to explore new mediums all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's amazing. Is there any other questions? I see someone in the back. Oh, yeah.
ठीक है ठीक है बहुत ਵਧੀਆ ठीक है ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਯਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਤਾਂ ਮਾਤਾ ਪਿਤਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੀ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੌਂਕ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਤੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਭਰਾ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿੱਖੀਏ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਅਤ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਰਹੀਏ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਗਏ ਸੀ, ਉੱਥੇ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਤੇ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੀਜੀ ਚੌਥੀ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਵੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ ਸੀ। ਸੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਛੋਟੀ ਉਮਰ 'ਚ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਛੋਟੀ ਉਮਰ 'ਚ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਹੀ ਸੀਗੇ, ਮਤਲਬ ਘਰੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਪਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਸਾਰੇ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਨੀਆਂ, ਸਕੂਲ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਨੀ, ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੂੜੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ। ਸੋ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰੰਗ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਚੜ੍ਹ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਉਤਰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ। ਸੋ ਆਈ ਫੀਲ ਲਾਈਕ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਇੱਕ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸੀਗੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਉੱਥੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਨਾਲ ਰਹੂਗੀ। ਉਮੀਦ ਤਾਂ ਇਹੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਨਾਲ ਰਹੇ। ਯਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। Sure. ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਮਾਲਵੇ ਤੋਂ ਹਾਂ। I'm very proud of that. I always make people aware of the fact that I'm Malwai. ਹਾਂਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਮਲਵਈ ਹਾਂ, ਇਹ ਦੁਆਬਣ ਹੈ।
ਨਵਾਂ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ, what's up? ਨਵਾਂ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ। Are you from ਨਵਾਂ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ too? Oh yeah. Yeah, gotcha. Why am I saying this out loud? Yeah, gotcha. Oh yeah, cool. That could be close by.
Another question? Where's the mic?
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਜੀ।
Thank
ਤੁਹਾਡੀ
you.
ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਇੰਨੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇੰਨੀ ਸੁੰਦਰ ਹੈ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗਾਇਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ 'ਤੇ ਲੈ ਗਏ ਆ। ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ 2 ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਪਹਿਲੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਉਸਤਾਦ ਜੀ ਕੌਣ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਨਾਲੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਉਸਤਾਦ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਜਾਂ ਗੁਣ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿਰਫ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੰਗੀਤ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਰਟ 'ਚ ਕਿਤਾਬਾਂ 'ਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ?
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਯਾ ਸੋ ਸੰਗੀਤ ਦਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੈ, ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਵੈਸੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਾਤਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸਿਖਾਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਛੋਟੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ, ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਉੱਥੇ ਵੀ 1-2 ਮਤਲਬ ਰਾਗੀ ਸਿੰਘ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ। ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਧੁਰਪਦ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਹੈ, ਧੁਰਪਦ ਗਾਇਕੀ, ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਭਾਈ ਬਲਦੀਪ ਸਿੰਘ ਹੋਰਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸੀਗੀ। ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਖਿਆਲ ਗਾਇਕੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਅਦਿਤੀ ਉਪਾਧਿਆ ਇੱਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਆਗਰਾ ਘਰਾਣੇ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਾਗਿਰਦ ਅਤੇ ਉਸਤਾਦ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸੀ। ਅਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੁਛ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਉਹ ਸਿਰਫ ਗਾਇਕੀ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੁੜਦਾ, ਉਹ ਮਤਲਬ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜਦਾ, ਅਤੇ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਦਿੱਖ ਕਲਾ ਹੈ ਲਾਈਕ ਵਿਜ਼ੂਅਲ ਆਰਟ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬਰੀਕੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਫਾਈ ਲਿਆਉਣੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਹਾਂ। ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਗਾਇਕੀ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਉਹੀ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਲਿਆ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਦੀ ਦਿੱਖ ਕਲਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਫਾਈ ਅਤੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਲਾਈ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਆਈ ਹੈ। ਯਾ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ।
Hi, Kirit.
Hey,
the fan club is growing. The youngest one fell asleep to your music, so I think you have to add children's concerts to your repertoire because he was jamming out.
That's a good sign.
Okay, first thing, my niece wants to show you something.
Okay. Wow.
She's too shy to speak, but she made a drawing. She wanted to show you.
Both Sonia, thank you so much.
Oh, you're
That's
such
very
an
nice.
artist.
That's very nice. Thank you.
She is very excited to meet an artist today, so
We should interview you. Come on.
So I have 2 questions. One is from my nephew, but he's too shy to say it out loud.
That's okay. That's okay.
He is also very artistic in a lot of different ways. Has created his own beats, lyrics,
Nice.
Video games, visually creates things, build things with his hands.
Cool.
But is also like very into technical things like coding and you know building things like that way.
Yeah.
So his question is, how can he balance on continuing to
develop his skills and all of these different things that are, you know, like you, and like so many different things that you do and so many different mediums. And then the second question is, how can we, as like the older generation, support the young ones? Like, she calls herself an artist. You know, he loves to create all these things. So what can we do, if anything, just in terms of like supporting them in having all these multiple paths?
That's such a nice question. Thank you. I think that, so like what I did was, I was always interested in a lot of different things, and it's not typical to be able to, or I shouldn't say typical, it's not easy to be able to do all of them and to balance all of it, but I do feel like it pays off, like that work that you put in does pay off, and it's not gonna be necessarily comfortable or easy, but you just kind of have to remember that you love it for a reason, and whatever it is that you're doing, you should continue to do it because A, it makes you feel good. B, the hard work that you put in is going to pay off somewhere. You might not realize it. It might not be tomorrow. It might not be next week, but it is going to culminate at some point for sure. And I would just say, you know, obviously, like, try to be realistic with how much you do, but still try to put efforts into doing the things that you want to do. Obviously, take care of your health. Don't go like sleepless nights. I don't believe in that. I mean, sometimes I get it. You have to do it, but but I mean, obviously, some sacrifices have to be made. But I feel like you should just continue to follow your curiosities, and that's what I would say to like the older generation if they're speaking to the younger generation. Like, just try to observe what that child or what that younger person is interested in, and just try to nourish it and nurture it. And there's always so many different ways that you can do that. Like, if someone is, let's say, you know, really into drawing, you know, maybe they don't necessarily have to be a traditional illustrator or a painter. Maybe they would want to use those skills in, like you said, animation or video games. Like, I combined my visual arts interest and science into architecture, and I loved combining it because it was a way of me being able to explore science and art. And I think obviously now, like, my practice has evolved and it's kind of like everything's kind of a mishmash of everything. But that's also a very beautiful thing. You end up combining your different art forms, and Gideon, I'm sure you can agree and speak to that as well, that you end up being able to combine things that you didn't think that you would be able to. So that's also a very interesting thing. Like, the future is very open, I think, more open than we realize. Yeah, did you want to say anything to that? Because you're also, like, you do so many things and, like, you combine them so well.
Thank you. Yeah, I would say that similar to what you said, one is the sleepless nights, because I did a lot of that. I still do. But I think definitely what I'm realizing as I've gotten older is, like, it's okay to have hobbies. Like, it doesn't have to be a profession. Yeah. I think a lot of the times I've made everything into a profession, and I wanted to explore every single thing and make it pop off for me, or like make some money off of it. Yeah. But I think also, like, now I've come to this place of, like, it's okay for certain things to be the profession and the career, and then other things, like, for example, I don't know, I want to learn how to play the guitar. I don't care to share that with the world, but I think just having something that's just for yourself, like figuring out what actually drives you, because a lot of the times what ends up happening is you're trying to do everything and you get frustrated with yourself, and you're not able to really focus on. But I agree, like, I think it all just ends up turning into one beautiful orchestrated
for
thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question. I hope that
answered the question. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions from anyone?
It's very zen. She's signing books.
Oh, yes. So we're doing, like, I guess, an informal book signing downstairs. So if you have a book or you're getting a book, I'll be down there as well. So I can definitely chat and
so she's selling books, and she's also selling pieces. She's selling jewelry pieces as well, and you can also check out her artwork in the same studio. So thank you so much for everyone being here today, celebrating Punjabi Garden, celebrating Girit Kaur. And celebrating to the 10th anniversary of Sikh Heritage Month.
Yes,
It's
huge.
really an honor for us to be here today, and thank you for having me as your host.
Yes, thank you, Sikh Heritage Month, and like all of the volunteers, all of the organizers.
Yes.
You guys did so much to make this come alive. So thank you guys so much for giving us the platform to share.
Shout outs to our tech
Yeah,
crew
shout
that
outs
really
to
came
tech.
through.
Awesome. So
Yeah,
we'll see you guys
we'll see you
downstairs.
downstairs. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Waheguru ji ka khalsa, waheguru ji ki fateh.
Just before everyone heads out,
sorry.
that's all good. Just want to give a huge round of applause to the performers, Girth Gaur and K-Ray. They did such an amazing job, such a beautiful voice, such beautiful art. And I think the most important lesson, and this is why I'm going to shift into Punjabi, is the importance of, keeping your maa boli alive. So with that, Sikh Heritage Month ਦੀ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ Sikh Fest ਦੀ night ਆ 6:30 ਤੋਂ 9:30 ਵਜੇ ਇਸੇ ਲੋਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਣੀ ਆ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਰਫਾਰਮਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਲਾ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਮੂਹਰੇ ਸੋ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸਮਾਂ ਦਿਓ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਗੁਜ਼ਾਰੋ ਤੇ we'll see you all here tomorrow and
Wait,
thank you once again.
One more thing, Sunday.
Yeah.
There is a workshop that Geetith is hosting, and she will be facilitating.
Yes.
You want to speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I'm doing a workshop with the Sikh National Archives at the Springdale Brampton Library. And you can register still. I think we have a couple of spots. And I just wanted everyone to know that this isn't going to be like one of those workshops where you need to have like a skill level and it's going to be like very stressful and difficult. It's more about like the creative journey. And it's going to be inspired by the themes of Punjabi Garden. So if you guys are interested, please do register and come out on Sunday.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
राग तिलक का मोद बहुत ही खूबसूरत राग है और इसके बाद और जो इसके आसपास खूबसूरत चीज़ें हैं उनसे मैं गुजरता हुआ जाऊंगा।
Thank you.